Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm JJ Flizanes, your empowerment strategist and producer. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today we celebrate 400 episodes on spirit, purpose, and energy. Now, if you're listening on another channel, we are at 679 episodes on Fit to Love, 379 on women, men, and relationships, 313 on nutrition and alternative medicine, and 184 on health and wealth. I missed celebrating the 300th episode of Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, so I wanted to rectify that by celebrating the 400th. I want to give a shout out to everyone who was a part of this episode, Megan and Haley and Michelle and Mari who came live, and Amira and Elisa who submitted an audio testimonial to add in. And for those of you that expressed wanting to be involved but couldn't for timing reasons. So thank you all. I appreciate it. There are two things that we kind of talk about in today's episode that are offers. One is a brand new offering actually on my website that I've had for a long time but forgot to add it. It's my manifestation meditations. Back when I was doing the 30 manifestation challenge, I created a bunch of meditations that people would, some of them they'd be able to use for free during the challenge, but then they would buy after the challenge was over. So I realized that I had all those kind of in an archive and it was time to bring them out. So if you're interested, you can go to jjflizanes.com, go under products or online courses, and you can download all 7 of those manifestation audios. And I believe it's $97, so probably the least expensive product that I have right now. And then also we talk about Empower You. And Empower You is a community, if you don't know, if you're new to me and you don't know, I have a membership, and the membership is $25 a month. If you buy a year in advance, you get 2 months for free. You can cancel at any time. I hold new moon circles, full moon ceremonies. We do group coaching calls once a month. You have access to the replay of those moon ceremonies on video, and you also have access to all the audios on a private podcast only for members, which currently has over 100 other episodes on it also. So if you want to be a part of this community, if you want to get involved, you want to have the support and the growth, and you want to be able to have access to me or group coaching, or just finding a Rampage of Appreciation partner, or having somebody to talk to, or someone that might even live locally near you. It's worth checking out. I invite you to check out jjflizanes.com/EU, but both of those links will be in the show notes. Enjoy today's episode and happy 400. Today we have a very special episode. We are celebrating episode number 400 on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Now, for some of you that have been around a little longer, I'm thinking of a few of you and you're Fit to Love listeners, maybe converted to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. But Spirit, Purpose, and Energy was started in 2016 and Fit to Love was started in 2014. So while I've been podcasting longer than those of you that found me on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, we're close to 700 episodes actually on Fit to Love, I felt like the 400th episode of Spirit, Purpose, and Energy was something to celebrate. Since it's my biggest audience, it's my most engaged listeners and people that just decided they wanted to get closer to the information, to the work, to each other in a really strong community. And so without further ado, I'm going to start asking some of the lovely ladies that have joined me here live. You will hear throughout this episode, I will splice in some other listeners that wanted to contribute but couldn't be here to record with us. So I think I'm going to start off with Mari. And the reason I'm going to start off with Mari is because you were the first person, I think, to reach out to me for coaching when I offered it on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. So if you would like to introduce yourself, tell us your name, where are you located, and how long have you been listening?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mari Parks, and I am located in Girdwood, Alaska, which is 45 minutes south of Anchorage. It's so beautiful here. And I've been listening to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy since 2017.
And what were you looking for, Mari, when you found Spirit, Purpose, and Energy?
I was looking for a way to care for myself after doing some very deep, intense shadow work. So I was having a hard time. I found a local healing clinic or healing center rather, that was a mixture of what you might say indigenous healing, um, and a Western model melded together. And it was really intense and it left me really raw. And after, we would have weekend workshops about once a month, and I attended maybe 10 over a year and a half. And one of the main tenets to continue the work of integration of shadow pieces is self-care. And so at that time, a girlfriend and I had been commuting in to go to yoga together because there wasn't a yoga studio that offered yoga when I could go. So her and I would go, and she was a big podcast listener. And I'm not that hip. So in 2017, I'm like, a podcast? What's that? And she said, okay, just go search keywords and see what pops up. And I went looking for JJ and I found you. And I can't even really remember what I was searching. It probably was something around the lines of manifestation, and law of attraction, but also healing. And I did bump into Fit to Love, and I listened to one. And you often say, when I work with people, it's more about the emotional energy behind their physical problem. And I thought, gosh, she speaks my language because I understand that very well. And you gave a little call out to, I believe, spirit, purpose, and energy. So maybe that's what it was. It was actually Fit to Love. I watched one and then completely switched over to this because I have experienced myself the power of the connection between the mind and the body, and further your relationships and your life in general.
Well, that's been 6 years. So 2017 is 6 years. That's a long time. And you have joined what was the Inner Circle membership, and then now is Empower You. You did have those 2 sessions with me, and then you joined the Conscious Business Academy this year to do a little bit of that work. So you definitely are in the circle. You're in the community. And I guess the next question I'll ask, but I'll go around the circle so you can think about this. The question I'm going to ask is sort of what has kept you here? Because it's one thing to find something that you're looking for initially. And then, because I'm sure after finding the show, you learned about law of attraction and manifestation. And I'm sure you've done a manifestation challenge with us, right? Like that was probably the first lead into the community, was the challenges that I was doing back then. But I want you to think about, what kept you here and then what has changed for you. So we'll come back to Maury. I'm going to move to Megan next. We'll see between Megan and Michelle, who I know Haley, it's 2018, right? So, and I think Megan's 2018. Michelle, are you before or after that?
I was 2019, I think.
2019. Michelle?
2016.
2016. Well, let's go back because you're the longest. So let's start with Michelle. Sorry, I didn't realize it'd been that long. So please introduce yourself, Michelle. Where do you live? What were you looking for?
Yeah, I'm Michelle Veglia, and I from Putnam Valley, New York, which is about an hour outside of New York City. So it's in beautiful Hudson Valley, New York. And at the time, I started listening to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy in 2016, actually in December, and I was hooked immediately. I think it was the numerology episode that I started with, and then I like to start things from the beginning, so I went back and listened right away to the first one. And I remember just like the realness, like the realness from you, like the personal piece from JJ that really shined bright, and I resonated with it, and I loved that it was really I was new to podcasts, and I was always like, I don't want to listen to podcasts. One of my friends was really into them, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then when I could have this in my ear while I was driving or while I was just doing things around the house, and listening to so many healing modalities, which is really what I needed at the time. It drew me in, and I love it. So, yeah.
So what's funny is that Spirit Purpose, for those of you that don't know the backstory quickly, I started Fit to Love in 2014. It was a 6-day-a-week show. It had video and audio. It covered 6 different themes, but many different topics under those themes. And I produced 350 episodes in 18 months. And I thought, you know what? they can't find me. Like people don't know by Movement Mondays that I'm an expert in biomechanics. They don't know by Freedom Fridays that we're talking about law of attraction. They don't know on Thoughtful Thursdays we're talking about subconscious mind. And so I realized I wanted to rebrand the different days of the week and split the podcast into different podcasts because I couldn't track the metrics. I couldn't track who was interested in what and which was most popular by putting it all on the same channel. So, I had a mentor that would say, stay the course until it's successful. Like, don't change. And I thought, but I have to change. I did this as a test. I wanted to see where I was supposed to show up in the world. And I can't tell because if you sign up, as you know, when you subscribe to a show, you get that show. So I can't tell by the downloads, which day is more popular. And make any kind of decision. So Spirit, Purpose, and Energy became the first podcast that I put out there in October. It was October of 2016 because I had nothing to sell anybody. I had no groups. I had no freebies. I had no landing pages. I had no funnels. I had nothing. So I'm like, let's just put this out into the world and let it fly. And I don't know if you joined, Michelle, how quickly you joined one of the manifestation challenges. Am I guessing, did you do a challenge?
Yes.
And
yeah.
Which was your first, what, do you remember what your first challenge was?
I believe it was probably a year later.
Okay.
I think it was pretty, maybe 2018. Maybe okay. 2018 might have been the first manifestation challenge. And the vision board episode was like really powerful because that's something that I, utilize, and you taught me how to to use one. So that was really empowering. And I have a really great story about the whale episode, which I that's like totally on my my desire list to do in my life. I swim with the whales. I tell everyone and anyone. And I finally recently, maybe 3 weeks ago, actually dreamt that I was swimming with the whales. And it's because every night I have it on my vision board, and that was a long time ago, but it's happening. So anyway, it's just it was such amazing like insight on, you can have a vision board, but it doesn't mean it, that's what you taught me. So yeah, it's amazing like what you can do with the power of your mind.
Well, same question will go to you when we do the second round of, why have you stayed so long? I mean, I'm not kicking anybody out, of course. Thank you. I love you all. Because it's been 7 years. It's a long time that you've been listening to me. That episode she's referring to is called Why Your Vision Board Isn't Working. And I believe it's like episode 4, maybe of Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, or somewhere around there. It's very early. And it's very powerful. It's one of my favorites, especially talking about law of attraction, because everybody got on the bandwagon of do this, do affirmations, do a vision board. And then it's like, well, but you don't just put pictures up and then it's done. I mean, it can be for some people, but that's not how you use it. And so I really enjoyed, and I used that episode on all of the manifestation challenges. So thanks, Michelle. Okay, Haley, I think you're next. You said you were 2018?
Yes, 2018. So I'm Haley. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've been listening since 2018. And first off, I'm so happy to be here because you have inspired me to do so much in life. So what I was looking for was not only a change, but really, I knew like I was going through a spiritual transformation, but I didn't know anything about anything. And whenever I came across your podcast, I started really learning about the techniques of manifestation. And I did join the challenge and the vision board, the whole thing. I actually created a vision board on my wall in my room that I could wake up to and go to bed to every evening, like literally implanted in the wall. Yeah, so I came looking for information, something that not a lot of people can bring, right? At that time, back then. Now everybody's talking about manifestation and affirmations and energy, et cetera, as you said. But as the other ladies had mentioned, I had went back and binge watched. And because you hit on so many different areas, the emotional part, the energetic part, the health part, the fit part, right? Even in your Spirit, Purpose, and Energy podcast. I remember listening to a detox episode, and I think you had this woman on there who sold these algae products. Those things really inspired me to even dive deeper into the whole spiritual and energetic work of becoming one mind, body, spirit. So, yeah, I came looking for information, and you just had so much to provide on a variety of topics. So I stayed.
And you know I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right?
I actually did not know that.
Yes. So yes, I'm from, I mean, not in the city. I'm from the outside, 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, but yeah, I'm
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I think
So
I know how to call that. What part?
Irwin, Greensburg area.
Okay. 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 But now you're in the sunny parts of California.
I am. So that's nice to hear. I'm always very happy when I meet people from Pennsylvania on who listen to my show. It gives me hope, not because again, I hope that doesn't sound like totally arrogant, but I mean, it gives me hope that there are other people in small towns, in places that don't appear to be. I mean, when people think of California, they think of woo woo, right? Even though not all parts of California are woo woo, but Texas, Pennsylvania, like these are not traditionally places where spirituality is like welcomed. It's very religious. It's very some blue collar. So we're not looking at, a very traditionally open place. So when I hear someone's from Pennsylvania, like Amber, who's in our membership, also left. She lives in Ohio now, but she moved from Pittsburgh, and so I was always like, okay, cool, all right, cool. It's nice to know. Feels really good to know that there are pockets of places where people are yearning for this kind of information and this kind of connection. So I will come back and ask you the same question I did for Mari Haley after we're done with Megan. So Megan, 2019, take it away, girl.
2019. Yeah, my name is Megan Banks, and I am in Austin, Texas. Spirit, Purpose, and Energy was what I first came through. And I was searching, like, I had not watched or listened to podcast ever. Like, this was my first podcast experience, like many of these other people, ladies. And I was searching for health and spirituality, and I came across you, and it's been lovely ever since. I joined Inner Circle, which is Empower You now. I did a beta 3-month program, and I have come to one of the events live.
Yeah, you're the Manifestation Bootcamp.
Yeah. And so and it was great. So I keep coming back because I keep growing and you keep growing. And I feel really inspired watching you grow, and it's helping me to build my bravery more.
Awesome. Well, Megan just answered that question. So I'm going to go back around and ask everybody else. Okay. So back to Maury. Why'd you stay? Why are you still here after 6 years?
Well, I'm still here because I am finally in a space of my life where I can actually engage more, because I've been here in and out, in and out. And like Michelle said, I also participated in a manifestation challenge. And as a matter of fact, I've participated in pretty much every one since the first one, and I'm going to guess around 2018. And I think something that we talk about often is the habit, and habits are muscles, and it just takes time for you to strengthen that muscle, and when I reflect back on manifestation, you will always say you're looking for a feeling more than the thing, right? And so I've sat with that, and one of my other mentors, Laura Amazone, she always is reminding us all to upgrade your desire. What is it that you desire and why? And that also goes along with the feeling. And so over these years as a human, I have changed and grown a lot. And like Megan said, so have you. And I really appreciate your realness, your rawness, your vulnerability, because you will say, like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out and I'm having a terrible time, and I had to just go rollerblading. And actually that inspired me to get back on my longboard because I have, similar to California, these really long expanses of paved walkways that don't have vehicles, right? So that I could start embodying the feeling of flow, right? Because it's not just a one-dimensional thing to manifest, it's a whole package. And So to come back to your question, I've been working on my whole package, and it goes around and it's always evolving. And I very much appreciate how you keep your boundaries, and that to me is inspiring, and how you are very vocal about bringing consciousness and spirituality into a business realm, because I have a sustainable MBA, and the basis of that is you have to become the agent of change, and you have to understand how change feels because you're asking other people to do it. And that's based in a whole amalgamation of habits and behaviors, right? And so, regardless of my being an extrovert, there's so much of me that wants to hide, and especially in a business environment. And so I really appreciate spirituality in business, because to me that feeling of heart centeredness and heart resonance with another human is actually the precipice of change. It's not words. And so you have to embody what you preach. And so now, 6-7 years later, I'm feeling a bit more courageous, to borrow from my friend Megan. I'm feeling a bit more courageous and also inspired to actually speak my truth about how spirituality is as such a necessary missing component of money. And I will always say, any chance that I have the opportunity to do so, that my dharma or my calling in this life is to change the frequency of money in which it is earned, given, and received on all angles. And so being with JJ and my friends and the Empower You is fueling me to do the work that I'm called to do.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mari. On the next round, I'm going to want you to just give any examples of, and I think you kind of just did, but maybe if you have any more concrete examples, and if you don't, that's fine too, of things that have changed, like the ways you've used something, any of the tools from the show or the things that we do in Empower You, how you've implemented them and how you've seen any change in your business, in your relationships, in your parenting, in your whatever. Sorry, I have insider information that I just plan. You don't have to talk about that, but whatever you think is appropriate. I want to go to Michelle now. So the same question goes for you. It's been 7 years, and why are you still here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're forever learning, and I always want to be just a sponge and absorb everything that unique individuals bring to our consciousness and share. And I think any guest that has been on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy is very impactful, as well as picked on an agenda in a way. And when I do listen, I think it's like exactly the moment I need to hear that, and the sound bites are just so like present. I like hear something, and the episode with the psychedelics recently, and I've had that experience what you had with Doug, like just love, and like that was just like very powerful. And so I think it's just constantly, again, like the girls were saying, is just growing and evolving in the way and when I listen, and just like taking it into my day or taking it into my month, or and just having that motivation and inspiration all the time. So it just continues to just like permeate through my life. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
No, that's great. And you've been in Empower You for a while. And I know you don't come to a lot of the meetings. Do you use the information afterwards? Like, do you listen to the podcast that comes with it, or do any of the new moons or full moons that we do in there?
Yeah, I do listen back, on Facebook, on the group. And because I have from just the Rampage
Krista.
partner, Krista. Yeah, she's like been years now. I feel like I know her like a sister at this point. But it's just, and all of the ladies are lovely. I know them from, I just I like from hearing her being so close to them, but also just in general, it's amazing, the community and the tribe that it is. I know I always want to make it, and I think it's just I'm so busy all the time, and that's not an excuse actually, but the fact that I'm like part of it, in even if it is on the outskirts, I'm gonna have to go to a meeting now. So
well, no, I don't mean to push in the spot. I want to talk about that only because there are people that are, there are times, well, that I over deliver and don't really tell people like how to use things or why to use things. And you're an example of someone who's been in for a while, but you don't necessarily participate. See, somebody else would say, well, then I should quit. So the fact that you're still here means that you find some value, even though you're not present for the meetings, right? Or someone that can't make every new moon or every full moon. Well, I don't do them every month the same. And it's, the price point is low enough that you get to be around people like this. Megan and Mari come to a lot of the meetings and the moon ceremonies and stuff, but not everybody does. So I just wanted to hear, you've been with me the longest in terms of podcast listening out of the people that are here, yet you're still in the group and we don't really see you very much. And that's not a judgment. I'm just curious because so many people will come in for like 2 months and say, well, I can't make the meetings. I should be out of here. And I'm like, oh, you can listen back and you can write in and you can have, Rampage, you'll find a Rampage partner and you can, all the things. So I was just curious about that because of course we'd love to see your face more. And anyone that's listening, Haley, we'd love to have you and empower you. Anyone that's listened to me longer than a couple of years, you have this tribe who would love to meet you if you're wanting to deepen the conversation. So thank you, Michelle. I'll ask you the same question as Mari in terms of the last question, or one of the last questions will be, what is, how do you see the changes in your life? Like what tools, and it even could be, what's your favorite tool? What's the most impactful thing you've learned and used and you can see the change? So Haley, why are you still here?
I am still here because I know that no matter if I take a 1-day break from listening or a 2-month break from listening, that I can always come back and get what I need. I love hopping in on your live, when you release an episode, but that always inspires me to go back and find what I intuitively know I need to work on. And I know that your podcast is going to have it. So I just love the plethora of information that you provide, and all of your guests. They're all amazing and they all have led me places. So I feel like you're this big bridge, and not only you providing information, but having those divine connections to that global consciousness of the whole planet elevating, right? So I just love staying for that reason. And as everybody has already reiterated, the growth in your free container, which is your podcast, right? Like anybody can go listen right now from episode 1 and by episode 400. Now you are going to be a completely different human being. So I just want to throw that out there. I know that, I'm probably your behind the scenes, laying low cheerleader that you've never seen or never heard of. But I can tell you that as a listener for all of this time, that you have changed my life in many ways. You've inspired me to start a spiritual business. You've inspired me to really understand the mechanics of manifestation and use it. And I'm excited. I'll be excited to tell you about my favorite tool when that comes around. But so yeah, that's why I've stayed, because I know that your information is priceless.
Well, thanks, Haley.
Hi, my name is Amira, and I live in the beautiful Black Forest in Germany. I have started listening to the podcast in 2016 after I came back from India. I was doing my first yoga teacher training there, and I was so inspired to change a lot of things in my life. But in some regards, I was missing some tools. And this is where JJ Flizane's podcasts were a game changer for me. I had just stumbled upon Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg and was instantly hooked. And JJ achieved to explain it in a very comprehensive way for me. So as I instantly loved this super fast speaking American woman, I wanted to know what else she had in store, and till today she continues to inspire me with her podcasts. One thing I found very courageous in all of JJ's podcasts is her willingness to be vulnerable and to share her personal stories and details. It made everything she shared so easily relatable. My partner and I also worked through Harville Hendrix's books together, and I have gotten to know many really awesome teachers and healers through her work. I am forever grateful to have been part of her community in some way or another, and I wish from the bottom of my heart that she continues to grow and continues to inspire in the way that she is. She even inspired me to start with my own podcast, just because, yes, I can see that by just being open and sharing and being vulnerable, it's so easy to touch other people's hearts and help them develop into the most beautiful versions of themselves and the most serving for society and community. So thank you, JJ, for everything that you've so freely given and for the service that you've done for me and for everyone that listens and works with you. All my love.
My name is Elisa, and I've been listening to JJ since 2017. The podcast I came across was Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and I was just searching for more spiritual podcasts and energy healing, and I came across hers, which was awesome. It definitely has changed my life in many ways. Ever since 2017, I've been on a path of self-healing, and just all the tips and tricks that she shares with the guests that she has on the podcast, they've all given me a little piece of something that helps me just be better. And every podcast that she puts out there definitely has a lot of information that, I take in and practice. And still to this day, I feel like I have to go back and listen to the same podcast just because I get something new out of it. A lot of things have happened in the past years, and a lot of contrast, but with all the tools that she has shared, definitely it's just a reminder of what to do with it and just grow instead of continue falling down and being the victim. It has changed my mentality from being the victim to just, taking responsibility for my own and thinking of how I can be different or change in a better way. So JJ is awesome, and, all the stuff that she teaches is amazing. And we also went to her manifestation boot camp, and it was just amazing. And, being there, meeting all the people that also listened to her was great, and just learning from everything she shares. So she's awesome. I recommend you listening to every podcast that she's put out there, because I'm telling you, you'll get really good stuff from it, and it will help.
I appreciate that. Yes. One of the things that's funny about when I get negative comments, I was telling somebody this yesterday or the other day, that when people come on YouTube, right? And I don't know how you guys all felt. I heard from the community when I started saying what I say now, which is, hi, welcome to the show. And, if we did a video, come on over to jjflazanes.tv to watch the video. And if you're here to find my more famous person I'm interviewing and you're here on YouTube, hi, I'm JJ. And if you don't like me, I don't really care. Right. Like when I first started doing that, I got mixed feedback. I got people that would say, you don't have to do that. Stop saying that. If they don't want it, and then I got people that say, I really like that you say that, because it makes me go, yeah, I should do the same thing. So I have continued to do it because energetically, as you can feel, I mean it. It's not, and it's cut down on a lot of negative feedback on YouTube. And I get it. People that are looking for a more famous person to listen to, they don't know me. They're like, who's this person? Shut up. But then they'll say, can you just talk less? And I say, no, no, this is my show that I pay for to bring it to you for free. You are welcome. Or go away, go find the other person you want to follow, but do not tell me to talk less. This is silly. But again, if you don't understand how podcasts work, I got to pay to be here, people. This is not free. It's free to you. So Haley, when you say, it's a plethora of information, I'm a I'm a content machine and I'm giving it all. So at some point, right, when you come a little closer, you got to pay some money. You got to say, hey, I'm going to put some skin in the game because I believe in me and I know what you're doing works and I'm going to, pony up and be ready to play. But somebody, and I've had people send me messages over the years, somebody who said, and I posted it, I think he joined for half a second in Empower You, but he sent a message that said how my podcast has changed his whole life. And he gave me this whole testimonial. I never met him. He's never paid me for anything. He's never had a session. And so hearing that was like, okay, cool. I'm doing a good thing and I'm going to keep doing a good thing. And some people are not going to like me and tough shit. I don't care. So thanks for saying that, Haley, because the free part is that like, there's a lot of effort. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. There's a lot of risk of putting yourself out there, especially in the way that I do it, when sometimes I can have a strong opinion that people might not agree with. Like this week's show, chronic pain is a sign of a lack of self-love. That title came to me as I was sitting in Dr. Bruce Lipton's event, and the movie that we were profiling, Love Heals, when we took back the layers of their journey, I was like, well, this is what it is. Chronic pain that cannot be fixed by physical means is going to most likely always be a lack of self-love. It's really that simple. And for those that don't listen to the podcast, but probably watch YouTube, they're thinking, because, you all heard on the podcast that I said, now, before you persecute me for that title, let me explain it. But I didn't get to do that on YouTube. So, I definitely am a risk taker. And at the end of the day, I love you guys. So if you're new to the show and you're listening to the 400th episode, I invite you to look back at the catalog. I use all of the episodes in my coaching. I use them myself. They're worth revisiting. They're usually packed with information. But of course, if you've been here for a while, you already know that. So Megan, let's go to you. You kind of already answered why you have stayed, but I just wondered if there was anything else more to that, or if you want to move on to the next question.
I think I can move on to the next question.
Great. So why don't you take it?
So there are so many things actually that have changed in my life. My inner dialogue has changed a lot. My resilience is like phenomenal. I'm not crying all the time like I used to. And, anyone who is in Empower You can testify to that, because I would come to every meeting and just be sobbing. And my relationship with my parents has improved. I had kind of a funny addiction where I was buying crystals all the time, like a mad woman, and I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, just so many things and tools that I use all the time. I am a mental health provider and I use the feelings and needs list. I love the core wounds, like super incredible. So yeah, my life has really been positively influenced by so many of the things that you've put out there. And I have this amazing community because of the content that you've put out. And I have incredible Rampage partners, so many of them. I just feel really appreciative. I feel really blessed to be a part of this community. And I participate in like almost all of the new moon and full moon ceremonies and love every meditation and learning about all the things. It's just, I don't know, I could go on and on.
Thanks, Megan. Maybe the last question will be, well, and I'll just see if there's anything else anybody else wants to offer and open up to you guys. But I'd love to hear if you have any requests or desires about where what you'd like to see happen next. I can tell you all sort of what I'm planning or where we're going in terms of my own journey, but I'd love to hear where you are, or if you're wanting me to hit a specific subject or bring on more of something, I'd love to know that. Okay, I think we're back to Mari about the tool, your favorite tool, or how your life has changed.
That's a loaded question, JJ. Where to begin? I guess I'll just focus on how my life has changed, because I attribute my membership in Empower You to be the foundation of me feeling the confidence and support to make giant life changes, as in I ended a long-term 24-year relationship, which was half of my life at the time, and focused on creating my own space, finding a place to live. And so I had no place to live, and I live in a ritzy town, for lack of a better word, and housing is in an extreme crisis because it's a ski community. Lots of money came in during COVID. And so consequently, us regular folks were having a really hard time finding a place to live. And I always say it's always about who you know. And I really focused from July, let's say, shortly after I blew my ACL, which you reminded me was because of stubbornness and limiting beliefs. So that was an interesting lesson. I got a lot of hard lessons, and I was preparing to leave my house, and you had advised to do not just have a place ready and bring my kids. You said you must tell them while you guys are all together. And that certainly wasn't anything I wanted to hear because it wasn't my plan. However, being humbled from a blown ACL, I listened, and it was turned out to be the best decision of my life. And it was really hard. And I was so grateful for the support of the community and my friends. And Stephanie, she's not here, but lots of her words really rang true to me, telling me like, this is going to be the hardest thing that you're ever going to do, and you will get to the other side of it. And it was true. You know, I took your advice. I don't know how you know all these things, JJ, but I took your advice and I told my children, and it was really hard, and we did it. And now it's been a year and a half, and I feel like we have all adjusted rapidly and very well because of listening and following through on creating a container of safety for them, which in turn, I think is what you do for all of us, right? You're creating this container of safety just by participating. It changes your life and your mindset. There's a word in Sanskrit called a samskara, which means a groove and a pattern that's worn into your brain. And it's your go-to reaction. And really, at the basis of law of attraction for me is yoga of the mind. Like, you just want to get into this crazy flurry of I can't, and this, and just this negative loop of thought. And yoga of the mind, jumping out of there and then using gratitude as the new foundation. So now, when it's been 6 years, right, and it's not been easy, but now when things go bad, I go find what I can be grateful for. And then if I'm still feeling yucky, then I'm going to go to some other tool that I learned, maybe tapping, going outside, you know, getting on my longboard, and just the single focus of the mind, yoga of the mind. And that is the biggest gift. And just really briefly, because I think it's so funny, and this is another thing that I appreciate about you, is bringing astrology in to everyday life. Because people, if you like astrology, you're too out there, right? And I personally, and I say it a lot, I have no time for new age theatrics. And so I kind of like strong-armed it, and I really appreciate how you bring it in. So yesterday was Mercury retrograde, and I have Mercury and Virgo in my chart. So it was a very dynamic day for me. And it was kind of weird, and all these things happened. And my girlfriend was like, hey, you want to go watch the sunset at the beach? And I was like, yeah. So we went to the beach, and we were sitting there, and the tide was coming in extremely fast. So we had to move up to the higher rocks, and we sit down on the rocks, and ding, 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 there goes my phone down some crevasse, because these are giant boulders. And we just looked at each other, and I just started laughing, because we were just talking about Mercury being in retrograde and how maybe we hold off on contentious conversations. And I was like, well, there went all my communication. That's fine. Ha ha ha. We just laughed. And so now, of course, today, and I don't know my Apple ID, and I'm in this like weird, very Mercury retrograde, but I'm thankful for it, because you know what? I had another device in my drawer at home. It's not the end of the world. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you had a backup so that you could be with us today. So kudos to being prepared, no matter what's happening. Yeah. Well, I don't look at astrology the way other people do. I look at it as a tool. It's a very, to me, it is a science of possibility or interpretation. It's elemental, right? I think in this last 6-month group, I forget who, I think it was Becky who was a little like, oh yeah, like the elements, like when she looked at it differently, and it was about whether you're fire, water, air, or earth. Then she added up all the different elements to see I'm mostly air. And then the next one I have is earth. And that just in terms of how elements work, it just helps give you a little bit of information or a little bit of context to not be so judgy about yourself, and, and to be able to understand why you do what you do. Sometimes it may not make sense to you in other modalities, right? To me, there's no normal. Normal doesn't exist. What the fuck does that mean? Normal? Like everyone's an expression, a unique expression of so many different things. And astrology is just one of the tools, obviously, that I use. I know everybody's sign most of the time. Michelle, because you've been coming to the meeting, I don't know yours, but Mari is a Leo and Megan is a Capricorn. Haley, I don't know yours. But most of the time, if you're a client of mine, I know your sign. I may know your moon and your rising also, depending on how much I work with you, because those are important things for me to remember on how to communicate with you. And I think it's very helpful when you learn those things, because you're, in the last 6-month group this year, the deep dive, we added in the astrology at the end. And that was the thing that turned people like more compassionate to their family. Not the core wound exercise, not the upper limits, but when they saw their astrology, all of a sudden it opened their hearts. And I'm like, wow. And because I haven't done the astrology piece in the empowerment strategist programs, which is the 6-month, they were before. So it's just, I appreciate that, Mari. Thank you. I don't use it. Yes, I don't use it like predictions. I use it for psychology. I use it for behavior. I use it for possible interpretations that aren't yours. And here's why. It's not as simple as, it has context. It has a reason why somebody who is an earth sign would see something differently than a fire sign, right? Like one's looking for stability and one's looking for movement, or one's looking for action and one's looking for safety. So anyway, so I appreciate that. So thank you. Michelle, what is your sign, by the way?
I am a Leo.
That's right.
Yeah, Leo rising and a moon in Gemini.
Awesome. Another fire sign. Okay, so favorite tool.
Well, so just to echo Maury about the astrology, that's something that I would always bring in just in meeting people and connecting with people, and when I was dating and that kind of thing, I just kind of always tapped into that. So that's kind of something I've interweaved into my life, definitely, and still I'm learning, and I love that. But I think that the main tool that I use and has just continued to be, get strengthening that muscle is the manifesting. Again, tapping back to the vision board. I remember, because I had been in a marriage years ago that was abusive, and I got out of it. I left, but that was before I started listening to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. But I definitely feel that with the tools of manifesting, I created a vision board with all everything love that was it was all romantic, and like slowly but surely how I used it, I met the man that's just like exactly, I mean, I'm myself completely with him, and it's exactly what I wanted and desired, and I did all of the things the way that I felt that I should, and I don't know, it just is amazing timing. So, and it was just letting go and allowing, and that's when I met him at a meditation. So it's just, that's like a big part that has changed. And then also just the, healing inside out was a major theme that I got from Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. And now I'm a holistic coach, and building that business, which is taking time, but I'm trusting in the process, just as we know we should. And so it's been a wonderful journey. And I feel that just listening and hearing so many, like I said before, like unique individuals that you facilitated to have conversations with, and it's just expanded my and stretched my horizon. So I feel really good about just the fact that it continues to happen as I listen, and and be part of this community. So
awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Well, I as of the recording of this, the show next week is going to blow your mind, I think. I hope. Haley.
So life-changing, I'll touch base on that really quick. I want to share that not only have you changed my life, but I have trickled that around to my family members. I mean, I remember like listening to a grounding episode. I'm like, you better go out and ground, or listening to we'll say about emotional frequency and tell them about that. So I really want you to know that you have reached a lot more than just me, especially in the beginnings of my spiritual transformation. And when I was like binging every episode, I was sharing it all of the time. But you did inspire me to start my own spiritual business, and I am a human design and energetic coach, and I have just dove so deep into the spirit, purpose, and energy portions of everything because of all of your different episodes. And I just really want you to know how grateful I am for that, because I am a data collector. It's in my human design. Like, I need the information, and you have had more than anybody could ask for in the realm of, like I said, the mind, body, spirit, emotional, the whole package, right? So you changed my life in many ways, gave me the inspiration to not only really be a sponge for the information, but then want to share it with others. And I have completely changed my life because of it. I am financially abundant, time abundant. I really, really have taken every little thing in all of the episodes and just ran with it. So I just want to thank you for that. And for my favorite tool, I'm excited to share this because I'm not sure if you still do the manifestation challenges, but it was one of your visualized meditations in the manifestation challenge. And that visualization I still use it to this day, every single day. And whenever I am working on my manifestation, which is endless, right? Like, I'm like, okay, that. I close my eyes and I literally play that in my head, like you're there. And I'm walking through the steps of visualizing, and not only visualizing, but feeling it and having it as if it's already mine. So I just want to say that is my favorite tool. I use it all of the time. I have expanded upon it. And thank you for sharing your gold mine of a brain.
Thank you, Haley. So it's funny that you mentioned that manifestation challenge audio. I know exactly which one you're talking about. And so, I was looking at my website the other day, and I don't know when it came up. I think I was telling somebody, oh yeah, I have all these meditations. And then I'm like, it's not on my website. It is nowhere to be purchased, because I used to offer it after a challenge. You could use it during the challenge for free, but you couldn't download it. You couldn't keep it. But then I would offer it to everybody. It was like $97, and you get like, I think 7 or 8 different manifestation audios, guided visualizations, chakra clearing that I created. And so now that you've mentioned that will be ready today as of the airing of the show, because you just gave me that kick in the butt to say, what am I sitting on it? That's my second sign that you think that you use that. And obviously it's been working for you. What was your birthday, by the way? Or what's your sign?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so my sun sign is Gemini, moon in Leo, and rising is Sagittarius.
Awesome. Okay, great. That was great. All right. So I guess last question, is there anything, what's coming for me? So what month are we in? We're in September of 2023 as of the airing of this show, 400th episode. And I will be having a virtual live event in January. It will be Awaken Your Dream Life, because I want to do it one more time for those of you that couldn't attend, and for those of you that would like to have the information, because I want to make it a course. So it'll be live one time. It'll be very interactive. It'll be like all day Saturday, January 13th. And then it'll be 3 weeks on a Wednesday, I believe, like a regular 90-minute call, or regular 90-minute call for the first 2. And then the last week might be 2 hours, but there'll be little breakout rooms. You'll get to talk with each other, kind of have a circle as best we can online. So that way I can create a a real course to go along with the event that I did, and sort of feel like I can put that down now, because it was such a great event that I'd love to do it again, but I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And I want to do it one more time to invite as many people, and airfare and plane and all that kind of stuff doesn't need to be considered because it's online. But what's coming after that is feeling very much about somatic work. And what I mean by that is more the physical work, right? We understand that our brain is a computer and we have to compute and reinterpret things. That's where I think a lot of healing fails, is because if you're asking someone to heal you and they energetically change you, you may still walk out in life with the same computer programs, and you're looking at things the same way, you're interpreting things the same way. So it's only a matter of time until you build up more resentment and emotion if we haven't looked at something differently. But the body, obviously, and the intuition has so much to teach us about our pain, and it's where we hold our pain. And so from the psilocybin journeys to different somatic practices and physicality, there's a whole physical, I'm starting to get really excited about. There will be a live event in 2024. I won't be able to tell you when right now, but there will be a live event in 2024, and it will be focused on more of the body, about releasing the pain from the body, about the body telling you, about being in touch with the body. And it is that sort of inside out allowing. Anyway, and I don't know what else will be in it, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, and again, this is from my own expansion and work and what I'm seeing in others and how I'm seeing people get too stuck in their heads. And while we use our brains to interpret everything that we do on this podcast, if you're not coming out from behind the podcast and doing something in the body, we're not making the connection real. It's temporary. It doesn't necessarily impact the same way. And I want to integrate the mind and the body, even just a little bit more. That's not through exercise. It'll be through movement, intentional body things that we're going to do, I think. But I wanted to see where you guys, that's a year from now ish. So in between now and then, and what would you like to see more of? What are you craving that you think is time? I mean, you're happy to keep going with me on that journey, but is there anything that you would like more of that the show hasn't represented? Or
so actually, this is part that I forgot to say from the last question. But as far as changes, there is something about being in your presence. Because when I went to the manifestation boot camp, probably the one of the biggest things that I have gotten from you was I realized that I was holding on to stories, a lot of victim mentality, ideas, thoughts, beliefs. It's really beliefs. And I've been able to change my story and feel much more empowered. And it's been really beautiful. And people can see that in me too. They can see that I have changed so much. So thank you.
Thank you. It might have taken, me beating my head against the window 20 million times to get you to the boot camp. Your stubborn Capricorness, but yes, it is very obvious your growth. I like you said. I mean, Mari's shaking her head. She's gonna hurt herself from shaking her head. Really, it is awesome. And you didn't mention the transformation with your husband. One of the last things that we did in the 3-month group, and looking at love languages and quality time. And I know that you had said that piece alone had really made a stronger connection and created a different kind of trust and safety in your relationship. Correct?
It did. And I really love the Imago conversation tool, the Imago script. That's really a beautiful tool too that I like to share with people. So yeah, your influence has been sprinkled about on my family, on my clients, on my friends. And I just really appreciate you.
And I appreciate you for trusting me to do the things that were suggested. Because again, it's really not, some people don't like me because they think it's about me being right, or it's about ego. And, obviously you're all still here because that's not the case. Because if it was just about that, who cares? That doesn't mean anything. If you're here and you want help and you want change and you want relief and you want joy and you want happiness and you want abundance, here's the thing, go do it. And there's only so much I can say, here's the thing, go do it. Well, here's the thing, go do it. I can't, right? So, but you kept showing up to be pushed. You just kept showing up. Some people would hide, but no, I can't go. I can't afford it. I can't, whatever the story is, I'm afraid. But you just kept showing up with resistance, but kept showing up please push me. Please push me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't be pushing so hard. But thank you for trusting me, because I had someone here this weekend for a medicine journey, and it was the first one that I facilitated, and won't be the last. But and it's just people in the community, people that I work with. It's not going to be some random person I don't know. And there's, because to me it's a very special. I cried more than she did. Let's just say that, okay, at the beginning, because it was this idea that, of trust, like it heals my wounds to have someone trust me and at least just try what I'm saying, because then it means you value me, right? So my value gets reflected back to me when someone trusts that I not just blowing smoke and that you do the thing. So I appreciate that, Megan, very much, especially you in the mental health field, right? Like you could definitely be someone to say, well, no, JD, you don't have a degree. I have a degree. You don't have a degree. So why would I listen to you?
Yeah. And ultimately, like, I had to have a little chatty chat with you, like, hey, I trust you. Like, this is not about me being in the field and whatever. Like, this is about me wanting to heal and knowing that you have this very intuitive expertise that maybe you don't have whatever the degrees or whatever certifications, like that really doesn't matter. And I want to say that again, it doesn't really matter that you don't have those, because you do have this very healing presence, this use of yourself as a tool, as a vessel. Like you're always getting downloads and using them and expressing them and being like this wildfire of information. It's really beautiful.
Thank you, darling. Is there anything you want to see on the show that I haven't covered that you're yearning for?
I am yearning for the somatic stuff. That actually is a tool that I use with clients a lot, like asking them how they feel in their body when certain emotions come up, if images come with that, things like that. I have found that to be a super powerful tool that I have used with a lot of people, and it's really changed a lot of people's stories. So it's tremendously powerful. So I'm excited that you're bringing that in.
Well, the somatic thing is going to be more, asking people to show up to do it. It's not going to be as much describing what to do, because I want to facilitate the doing. I want to facilitate the container of the body moving and allowing out the emotions and allowing us to connect on deeper levels with ourselves, because of the power that I've seen how it can heal. So for those of you that have listened to this week's show, Love Heals, that's the movie that I'm promoting that people watch. But anyway, they did a lot of somatic work, very specific kinds. And we will actually do some of that at this event. Not only that, but a little bit of that. And I want to really encourage people to step up and come to the next live event. And if I think that there's something of value we can talk about that you can do on your own, of course I will bring it. But I really want to facilitate a very sacred, safe container for people to do the work in their bodies with others in a community who can hold you, who can elevate you, who can feel you, who can support you, and then not just allow it, but then to transmute it, to take that and take it to the next level, right? Because we have our pain, it has energy, it has an intensity. And I want not only for you I don't want the intensity necessarily to be let out of the bubble. I want to channel it in another way. I want you to have purpose with your pain. I want that pain to ignite you into a different direction, or to allow in a bigger way. And so that's why I'm excited about, like, I'm clear that I know what kinds of things we're going to do at the next event, but I don't know what it's called. I don't know when it's going to be. It'll be in Redondo Beach, though. That's for sure. I've already put down the deposit. I am solidified for the same location. But anyway, that's what's coming. But before that is Awaken Your Dream Life, everybody. So no matter where you go in the world, because it will be recorded, it will be a course, and it will be live one time in January of 2024. So
I would like to see or hear more about addiction. And perhaps you've already covered this because you've done a lot of shows and I haven't watched religiously in a while. So I apologize if this is not accurate. However, I really appreciate the idea that, like, the 12-step program is just embedding kind of, you're never going to be good enough. And I forget exactly what you said about it in some other show, because I'm interested in reprogramming the pain of addiction into power, which someone recently had explained to me that addiction is actually a lack of intimacy, like an intimacy disorder. And so, how do we use these tools to support people in that realm? And I know that it is happening. However, what's happening out there in the world. I know there's ketamine and I know there's all kinds of different things, but something that's come to my attention through doing all the shadow work is my shadow addictions to things, and not necessarily substances, but behaviors and thought patterns. So that's something that interests me, along with women's sexual health. And you might have already been doing that, but it's always evolving, especially as I get older. Right now I have girlfriends that are doing hormones and not doing hormones. Just, it's always evolving. So thank you.
You're welcome. Let me just tell you that episode 13 on spirit, purpose, and energy is understanding and healing addiction. Episode 18 is overcoming depression. Now, that's the same person who I interviewed for those 2 episodes, but if you haven't listened to them, they're worth revisiting. And from that foundation is sort of what I've talked about throughout time. The energy underneath. Did you hear the energy underneath? Okay, so that I dealt a little bit with sort of addictive tendencies there of the all or nothing mentality that people have, or the power we give to the addiction, to the substance, or to the behavior. And we just change behaviors or change substances, but we don't actually look at the energy of addiction as the problem, because it's never about the thing. And, I have a lot of lovely clients and friends and people listen to the show that have done 12-step programs, but most of them know I don't really love 12-step programs. I think it's a step. It's a step in the right direction, but there is too much emphasis on the substance. So anyway, but I would be happy to consider doing more stuff on that. Anyone else have? Haley, I actually wrote down what you said about spirituality and business and spirituality and money, because I think that there's more I can do with that. Doug and I just started talking about money a little bit, but I'd like to talk about money more. So I definitely want to add in more spirituality and money and business into that. So
I really love the show that you did on animal communication.
Okay.
Awesome.
Michelle?
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo on the money piece. Like when you had put out that short episode about money, I was like, yes. I really enjoyed that you're just like, kind of, it was a preliminary episode. I feel, I mean, I know that you tapped on it before, but I just feel like when you said it and kind of brought it to because it's just something that not everyone talks about. And I think that's the piece right now, at least personally for me, that it's like I'm still working on that. So it's just I'm happy to take on more of the money piece.
Doug and I did a kick-ass sales training in the Conscious Business Academy recently, which is also in the mastermind. And I think I might do that. Part of that actually is a solo show about money, because a lot of what I said, I could extract from that presentation without it being a sales training, but it's about your relationship with money, especially as an entrepreneur or someone who is looking to make more money part-time, or to increase your value. It's kind of all the same. So I think I'm going to do a solo show on that. I'd like to do more with Doug, and we will, but I don't want to be dependent on that.
No, I just want to say thank you just for all these years and episodes and effort and connection. It's been a long, wonderful, inspiring road. So thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I just want to say, in the same vein of my own rampage of appreciation to you and my other mentor Zelma and my other mentor Laura Amazone, because you guys come together in my life and it coalesces into me being a better person. And I have a yoga teacher training certificate, and one of the things that you always do at the beginning or end of the class is give gratitude and thanks for all teachers, present, past, and future. And so in this moment that will be recorded into infinity, I just spread my gratitude, and hopefully our interviews inspire others to come join us, because we're real cool. And I really enjoy that you talk a lot, JJ. And I really enjoy that you have those boundaries because that keeps out what we don't need, and it keeps us inside the container elevated. So thank you. And very nice to meet you, Miss Haley. I don't know where you've been, but you are a dynamo.
Thank you, Mari. Yes. And Haley, no pressure. Love to have you in the Empower You group, as well as everyone else is listening to this, because it's an awesome. And Michelle, yes, you're going to come to a meeting now, at least just one. So everyone who's listening to this, who's in Empower You, could go, oh, that's Michelle. I heard her on the show. So, or maybe just do a video and stick it in Empower You if you're like, hey, I'm here, but sometimes I can't come. I thank you all. Those of you that are here, you found me 2 weeks ago and you've binged, you've been with me 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, 1 year, 2 months, whatever. You don't know how much I appreciate you. My love language is quality time. And what is really interesting is that when someone says, I listened to your show, I go, you did? You listened to my show? To me, that's like you came to my house and had a talk with me. And it's like, that's how I feel about it. Like in a way, it's an act of service and words of affirmation that I'm putting out there. But when someone says, I've listened to your show, all of a sudden my whole body goes like, you've just hugged me. And I love touch too, but like you've hugged me when you said, I listened to your episode. You did? So thank you so much for helping me also by reflecting back that this is information that you find valuable. And I love you all very much, even though I don't know many of you. But for those of you that have stepped forward into my life in a way where I can actually see your beautiful faces and energy, keep stepping forward. It might be time. Again, Empower You is super cheap. It's $25 a month, or you can save $50 if you buy a year in advance. And we do several different things in there. It's all recorded. You have access to all of it. You don't miss anything. We will eventually, actually in January, we will do another challenge. I'd like to do more than just once a year, but at this point, I'm committing to every January. We start off the year with a manifestation challenge. Although this year with the Awaken Your Dream Life, we might not. We'll see if we can do both. If not, we'll wait till February or March or December, whatever. It's a very fluid group. It's about whatever you need, and we put it together. But thank you all so much for taking the time out to be here with me tonight and to share your thoughts and feelings and wisdom and journeys and inspirations with everyone who's listening. So love you all.